Gabby Thomas and Julien Alfred are not just running the 200 meters, they're rewriting the script. One has been the gold standard, and the other? She's coming in hot with something to prove. Julien Alfred's 21.88-second run didn't just put her on the map, it lit it on fire. That time wasn't just fast for her, it was fast for anyone. And the way she did it, that's what really got people talking. No fluke, no lucky break, just raw speed, perfect form, and an athlete who's been quietly leveling up behind the scenes. Let's talk about that 21.88 for a second. That wasn't just a good run for April. It was the second fastest 200-meter time ever run in April. And it came just 0.02 of a second shy of her own national record. You know what that tells us? She's ahead of schedule. Way ahead. Christine Mboma's 2022 season opener might have held the April record, but Alfreds Run is right there. And it's still early in the season. Imagine what's coming. And this wasn't just some small-time meet. Alfred faced serious competition at the Tom Jones Invitational. She wasn't out there solo. She was racing against Olympic-level athletes like Favor Afili and Daryl Nita. Beating them this early in the year, that says a lot about where she's headed. Alfred isn't just trying to compete, she's coming for everything. Medals, records, and the spotlight. But if we're talking 200 meters, we have to talk Gabby Thomas. She's been that consistent force in the event, clocking 21.6, 21.7, 21.8 like it's a casual jog. Her personal best is 21.60 seconds. And she didn't just run that once, she's repeated that kind of form again and again, which is what makes her so dangerous. While Alfred brings that fire at the start, Thomas is the queen of finishing strong. Here's where things get interesting. It's a clash of styles. Julien Alfred explodes out the blocks. That first 100, she's already in attack mode, stretching the field. She brings that same power she showed in the 60 meters and drops it right into the 200. But Thomas, she plays the long game. She builds into it, surges in the second half, and hits the line like a freight train. That kind of endurance, especially in the 200, is lethal. And that's what makes this rivalry so real. You've got Alfred, who's fixing her late race fade, going head-to-head with Thomas, who's mastered the art of closing. It's like watching fire and ice in the same lane. Two very different athletes, two different approaches, but both capable of delivering something historic. Julien's been smart too. She's not just out there running sprints over and over. She's been grinding through 300s and even some 400-meter training, and that's starting to show. She's building endurance the hard way. You can tell she's not just trying to hold on in the last 50 meters anymore. She's learning how to push through it. You know that drop-off sprinters usually get in the last 60 meters? Julien had it. But lately, it's fading. She's hanging on longer, maintaining her pace deeper into the curve and down the home stretch, and a big part of that is those longer sprint sessions. Training for the 300 and 400 forces you to stay uncomfortable for longer. It rewires your brain and your body to keep going when it wants to quit. It's not just about stamina though, it's also about strategy. The 200 is that weird middle ground. It's not a flat-out sprint like the 100, and it's not paced like a 400. You need to hit the gas early, but not too hard. If you go out too fast, you're toast by the final 50. But if you're too cautious, someone like Gabby Thomas will just glide right past you in the last 30 meters. That's where Julien's new training is giving her an edge. She's figuring out how to pace it better. She's balancing her energy and learning how to hold just enough in the tank to close the race like a veteran. Also, let's not forget the mental game. Julien Alfred's confidence is different this year. You can see it. She's not just racing to see where she stacks up, she's racing to win. That little shift in mindset, that's huge. When an athlete starts expecting to win, not hoping, expecting, that's when records fall. That's when rivals start feeling pressure before the gun even goes off. Meanwhile, Gabby Thomas is staying cool. She's been through this before. She knows what it's like to carry the pressure, to run rounds at a championship, to perform when it matters. That's what makes her so dangerous. She doesn't have to prove anything, but she will remind you who she is if you give her a reason. Julien Alfred's growth over the past season is honestly wild. A year ago, she was already being talked about as a future star. Now, she's in that right now conversation. And it's not just fans noticing. Coaches, commentators, even competitors are starting to talk about her differently. That 21.88 wasn't just a fast time. It was a warning shot, and Gabby Thomas definitely heard it. What's crazy is how early in the season this is happening. April is usually where athletes are still working out the kinks, getting race sharp, and trying to stay healthy. But Julien came out already in peak shape, and that tells you everything about how serious she's taking this year. The fact that she's running world-class times now, that gives her a serious head start heading into the summer. And remember, this is all part of a bigger plan. She's already building her path toward the World Championships and, eventually, the next Olympic cycle. Every race is a piece of the puzzle. Every win adds momentum. And if she keeps up this pace, we might see her threaten that 21.60 mark that Gabby's been holding on to. It's closer than people think. But Gabby Thomas isn't just going to sit back and watch someone else take her crown. She's been the model of consistency in the 200 meters. When people bet on Gabby, it's because they know what they're getting. Smooth stride, elite closing speed, and the kind of composure that only comes with experience. And that's the one thing she still has over Alfred. She's been through those global pressure moments more than once. She's done the Olympic stage, she's done the world stage, and she's still standing. That says a lot. Even when she's not at her very best, she's usually still in the mix. That kind of dependability is rare in sprinting, where one bad day can cost you everything. But Gabby seems to always find a way to show up when it counts. That's what makes this rivalry so intriguing. It's not the classic young versus old story, both are still in their prime, but it's more like lightning versus thunder. Julien brings the electric spark, that fast start shock factor. Gabby brings the rumble, the slow build that ends with a powerful strike. They're complete opposites in how they run the race, but the finish line is the same, and both of them want to cross it first. One thing to watch closely is how the rest of the season unfolds. Julien's going to keep pushing herself in those early season meets, likely hitting more Diamond League events and using every chance she gets to sharpen her edge. Gabby, on the other hand, might play it a little more strategically. She knows how to peak at the right time. And while Alfred is building steam now, Thomas may be waiting for her moment to unleash something even faster down the line. And let's not ignore the ripple effect this rivalry is creating. When two athletes start trading shots like this, it raises the bar for everyone. Suddenly, the rest of the 200-meter field knows they can't jog a 22.0 and expect to be on the podium. The standard has shifted, and that's a good thing. It pushes the sport forward. It gives us better races. It gives us moments. What makes it even better is that both women have fans behind them. Alfred is repping St. Lucia and making history every time she steps on the track. Her country literally declared a holiday in her name. That's how big her impact is. She's not just racing for herself anymore, she's carrying an entire nation with her. And the pride she shows every time she competes? That energy is contagious. Gabby Thomas has her own wave, too. She's one of the few sprinters who's managed to balance elite performance with major brand appeal. She's been featured in campaigns, interviews, and she speaks out on issues that matter. She's more than just a track star, she's a role model. And when she steps on the track, she knows her voice carries weight. So what happens when these two meet again? That's what everyone's waiting for. Because this last race, that was just a preview, and it's only going to get more intense from here. They're both going to get faster. They're both going to refine their game. And sooner or later, they're going to line up next to each other on the biggest stage possible, with everything on the line. The 200 meters has always been one of those events that lives in the shadow of the 100. But this year, that might change. Because when Julien Alfred and Gabby Thomas step on the track, people are tuning in. The tension, the stakes, the storylines, it's all there. And it's exactly what the sport needs right now. This isn't just two athletes running a race. This is the start of something much bigger. A rivalry that could define a generation of sprinting. And if these early signs are anything to go by, we're all in for a wild ride.